Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer. We're doing a little bit differently tonight. We're using my phone instead of the normal setup that I have. Having some issues with the computer, so we're going to do this through my mobile phone tonight. We'll see how this works. I haven't done it through my iPhone before after a game. Sometimes it works, sometimes we have some trouble with this, but let's get into it. This game was too good to have to put off until tomorrow morning to get these technical issues solved. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about the 49ers' big victory over the Dallas Cowboys, a blowout win by a score of 42-10 here at Levi Stadium. Great win for the 49ers here in week 5 of the season. You know, you go back and you look at this game, and it was just from the get-go, this was a total 49ers butt whooping of the Dallas Cowboys. That you can't really, there's really nothing else that you can say. That's the best way of putting this game, was that it was just an ass kicking by the San Francisco 49ers over the Dallas Cowboys here tonight. And it started with the first possession of the game, right down the field. This offense is just, I wrote it in my live blog during the game. It was like a machine, the way that this offense opened up the game tonight, going right down the field on Dallas to score. You know, we've seen them do this so many times this season. And, you know, to see them be able to do that to Dallas, this is a team that coming into this game, a lot of people thought was one of the better teams in the NFL. And the 49ers just took it to them right from the jump. And that's the biggest, one of my biggest takeaways right now, looking at the 49ers after 5 weeks and in this game, is how good this offense is to open up games. You know, the defense, absolutely sharp. But when they've had to come out opening the game, they just go right down the field and score a touchdown. I don't know if there's a game this season where the 49ers haven't opened with a touchdown on their first possession. I know they had a touchdown on the first possession in Pittsburgh. I believe it was a touchdown on the first possession against the Rams, the Giants. I think it was a touchdown. I know it was a touchdown last week against the Cardinals, and then tonight. And, you know, again, this offense has just been lights out all season long. So good for the 49ers all year, and fantastic stuff all around tonight. You know, you look at this one tonight, you look at Brock Purdy's performance, you know, whatever the talk was this offseason, even now, right now, with some of the talk that's still been going on with some of the folks around the league, you know, this guy just comes out, he performs at a high level tonight. You know, Brocktober, we talked about this earlier in the week. Brocktober is alive and well, and when it comes to Brock Purdy and teams with the name Cowboys as their mascot, he kicks their ass. And if you go back to the origins of Brocktober, when he was at Iowa State were because of the win over Oklahoma State, a team that they weren't supposed to beat that year, and Oklahoma State is known as the Cowboys. So the Brocktober live and well. Brock Purdy tonight, you look at his numbers, 17 of 24, 252 yards, a career high 4 touchdown passes for Brock Purdy, 3 of those going to George Kittle. Just an amazing night. And it wasn't a smooth game throughout for Brock Purdy. The first quarter was a little up and down, 4 for 4 in that first possession on that touchdown drive. Then he kind of went into a little bit of a slump. At the end of the first quarter, he was just 6 of 10, so 4 for 4, and then 2 of 6 after that for the rest of the first quarter. But he really took over after that in the second quarter until he was taken out, 11 of 14, 3 touchdowns. The ball was never really in harm's way at all tonight with Brock Purdy. Just a fantastic performance there. You look at his 4 touchdown passes. You have that first one is one that, if you watched my film review last Monday, there was a play in that game where he escaped out to the right and he completed a throw to Christian McCaffrey. And I said on that film review, I said, oh boy, he had George Kittle open here if you wanted to go down the field with it. Well, tonight, got some pressure off the right side, escaped out that way, and George Kittle running free in the end zone, and he lost a touchdown pass to George Kittle to open up the game. Had another one on a deep ball to Kittle off a flea flicker, kind of a reverse, then toss back to Purdy with the shot down the right sideline to Kittle for the second touchdown. And then the third, that was just a beautiful play setup. You know, that was the possession where the 49ers came out, the first possession of the second half. And you could see they wanted to mess around with Dallas a little bit, show them some new personnel groupings. They came out in 22 personnel. That's 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. The only wide receiver on the field was either Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk on a couple of those plays. The first one, it was Brandon Ayuk. It was a play action. They hit Ayuk over the middle for 23. But then the touchdown at the end of that drive out of 22 personnel, really nice play action from Brock Purdy and George Kittle all alone in the middle of the end zone for a touchdown there. And then he wraps it up right here, right behind me in this end zone, right down here with they're down at the 1 yard line, little play action, get the ball out in the flat to Kyle Juszczyk for the touchdown. Kyle Juszczyk with a couple of nice receptions tonight as well for Brock Purdy. So just a really good game all around. Let me see. I got a super chat in here. I gotta pick up. This is from Shane Colamarino. He says it's 1:15 on the East Coast, but worth the wait. Wanted to share some love. This year feels special. I can't stop thinking about '94, and we are healthy. It's fun and scary. Go Niners. Shane, thank you so much for the super chat. I know it's late on the East Coast. I appreciate you staying up this late. I promise I'm going to make it up to you. This one's going to be a little bit of a shorter show, but we're going to make it back tomorrow. We'll do a little bit more of a reaction show. We'll hand out some game balls tomorrow. We'll also do a film breakdown. So we're going to have a lot of content on the channel tomorrow. I might do a couple shows kind of back to back too. So we'll see how the day goes along. But definitely you'll get that film breakdown tomorrow. And I appreciate you staying up. And in terms of your comment there about this team being special in 1994, yeah, I agree with you. This 49ers team right now, this is the best team in the NFL, I think. You look at what they have offensively. You look at what they have on defense. They're not fooling around on either side of the ball. And tonight's win, 42-10, reminds me a lot. I was a young guy. I don't totally remember the regular season win back in 1981, but if you remember your 49ers history, at least, in 1981, the 49ers blew out the Dallas Cowboys during the regular season by a score of 45-14 at Candlestick Park. That's kind of what this game was like tonight. They blew them out. It was 14-0, then it becomes 14-3, 21-3. Just a whooping of epic proportions from the 49ers tonight. So, you look at it, it was the offensive stuff, how good they were. Then you look at the defense. In the first half tonight on defense, the Cowboys had the ball 7 times in the first half of this game. On 6 of those 7 possessions, they didn't even pick up a first down. That's how good the 49ers defense was today. It was just a dominant performance by the defense as well throughout from the very beginning. You look at it, 3 and out. One play, you get a really nice play by Fred Warner to force a fumble. Kevin Givens making a great play along the sidelines to recover that. Just a thorough whipping by the 49ers tonight against the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion. Just a tremendous game there. 6301, this is a good one. Got to pull this up. He says, rip to the flat screen TVs that didn't make it in the Dallas metro area tonight. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys, for all the accolades that people had coming into this game about the Dallas Cowboys, I said this on the show a couple of different times. I know I said it today on the pregame show that I felt like the Dallas Cowboys hadn't seen a team like the San Francisco 49ers yet. They certainly hadn't seen an offense like the San Francisco 49ers yet. This was a defense that came in. They're supposed to be the number 1 defense in the league. Well, they're the number 1 defense because they played the Jets and the Giants and the Patriots. That's the only reason why they were the number 1 defense in terms of points allowed. This is not a good Dallas defense. They're tough. Don't get me wrong, but they're nowhere near the best defense in the league. They played the best defense in the league tonight. That's the San Francisco 49ers. Philadelphia Eagles right there as well. I think this is the Niners and the Eagles. There's a collision course on December 3rd. It's going to be a huge matchup. I think we're going to get to Philadelphia. I think you're going to see 2 teams that are going to be either undefeated, maybe 1 loss. But other than that, that's going to just be a tremendous matchup. And, speaking of the Dallas area, I gotta just, there was a tweet by Skip Bayless. I can't stand guys like Skip who just talk out their asses all the time. And he comes on on Twitter tonight with a tweet about Brock Purdy and how the rainbows that he's throwing and this and that. And I told Skip that it's time to go to bed, old man. You look at what Brock Purdy's doing right now. If you're watching Brock Purdy and you don't think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league with the performance that he's putting up night after night, I think you need to go and you need to check yourself and figure out what you're missing, because Brock Purdy is the best quarterback the 49ers have had in a long time. They've won 10 straight games with Brock. He's 10-0 in his career. The only time that they haven't scored 35 points in a game with Brock Purdy starting at quarterback is the Thursday night game against the Seattle Seahawks when he was playing with broken ribs. Then also the game here against the Cowboys in the wild card round last year when they scored 19. Those are the only 2 times. And then the other one he didn't play much of the NFC Championship game. But this is an offense that, with Brock Purdy under center, just hums. And yeah, they have a lot of weapons, but yeah, don't give me the fact that that's the only reason why. Brock Purdy makes a lot of plays in this offense, makes a lot of things happen. Look at the throws tonight that he made over the middle. There was a couple of them just over the fingertips of Leighton Vander Esch. I mean, those are just beautifully layered footballs over the middle of the field. That beautiful type of stuff. And, there was one series tonight where on back-to-back plays, the 49ers had explosive offensive passes. The first one was a deep throw to Brandon Ayuk. That play gets called back because of a hold. They come back on the next play. All right. Well, we lost a 42-yard completion to Brandon Ayuk. We're going to get a 41-yard completion on the next one to Deebo Samuel. I mean, that's just the way that this offense rolls right now. Brock Purdy, the catalyst to all of it. Yeah, they have a lot of really good playmakers that he's working with. But at the end, it all starts with the guy who has the ball in his hands. He's getting it to them, and they're making the plays afterwards. Hiram Wallace, he says, "Hey, Jack, he's also on the East Coast. 115. Hiram and Shane should get together. They're both, I think, in New York." He says, "No way I was missing this show. They truly quit late in the third quarter. Do you feel the same way watching the game live?" Oh yeah, absolutely. You could tell this game was over early in the. You could tell it was over at the end of the third quarter. You could tell it was over for dang sure when Jordan Mason ripped off the touchdown from 26 yards out. That was it. Leighton Vander Esch went down. What was his name? The pass rusher Micah Parsons went off the field. This game was over early. The fourth quarter was just a matter of trying to get out of here as quickly as you could. It was funny. I get to sit up in the press box. I sit next to Grant. Great guy. We have a lot of fun up there. But then also right next to us is Dante Whitner and the NBC Sports crew. And getting a chance to sit in that press box next to Grant, and also the two of us talking, and then hearing what Dante Whitner, because Dante Whitner, he's up in the press box, and Dante Whitner talks to everybody in the press box throughout the game. Talks about everything. It's basically it feels like you're on the field with him. He's out there. He's saying, this is the coverage. This is what they're doing. Look at what this is happening. That's happening. It's fantastic for a football junkie like myself to be up there listening to that, and just time after time, he's calling out what's going on, and he was all over so much of what was happening tonight. That was a lot of fun for sure with the 49ers. Huge win. Let's see what else we got. Just want to make sure I don't miss any others. Kind of going through. Shane wants to know, what are they going to say about Brock now? I don't know. Maybe, that Steven Ruiz guy, I don't know, man. The whole Brock Purdy discussion is so ridiculous to me. Brock Purdy is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, hands down. Yeah. He's not 6'5". He's not Trevor Lawrence. He's not Justin Herbert. He's not whatever. I don't give a shit. He's not. But he's not a guy that has played a bad game yet as the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. That's really when you get to Brock Purdy, that's where we are. And Gregorius Greg says Brocktober, let's have another. Absolutely. And it's not just the Brocktober, right? I mean, that's the part of it, that we're focusing on Brock Purdy. He's the quarterback. He's the trigger guy. He's just doing some stuff that's wild. And I agree with this comment right here from Shane, where he says the first touchdown to Kittle. If that was Mahomes, it would be magic. There's a lot of stuff that what Brock Purdy's doing that if it was any other quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, if they were playing like this, you'd have people all over America falling in love with this guy. And I do think that most of the people in America like this guy. It seems like more than some of the others that have been following this team. But they're coming around. They really are. I think this is the game tonight. I heard so much this offseason. I would be remiss. I'm talking so much about Brock Purdy, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this. I heard so much this offseason about how the 49ers offensive line was going to be the Achilles heel. Because of Colton McKivitz playing right tackle, the San Francisco 49ers were not going to be able to beat the Dallas Cowboys. That was going to be the thing that was going to be their downfall. Tonight, they went up against Micah Parsons, one of the guys who's supposed to be one of the best pass rushers in the league. DeMarcus Lawrence, this great Dallas Cowboys pass rush. How many times tonight did Micah Parsons hit Brock Purdy? How many times tonight did DeMarcus Lawrence hit Brock Purdy? Zero, none, zilch, nada. No hits tonight for Micah Parsons. No hits tonight on the quarterback for DeMarcus Lawrence. some of that is Brock Purdy's escapability, which is part of it, right? But that escapability plays into what you do as an offensive line. That's just like Joe Montana back in the day. Just like Joe Montana, when Joe Montana was here, when Steve Young was here, those guys were able to help make their offensive line better because they made moves and they were able to get out and make plays with their legs, And so I think that's a big part of it. So Ben DeMarco comes in. He says, "Hey, from Montreal. Look at that. We got Montreal. We are going international. We're always international. We have a lot of international contingent to watch the show. But now we got Canada with Ben. He says, "Hey, from Montreal. Love your show, Jack. Go Niners. Hey, Ben. Thanks for joining. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Just But again, going back to this whole thing with this offensive line, just a fantastic performance. And Colton McKivitz. I don't know what the numbers are going to look like. The 49ers, Brock Purdy tonight was hit twice. He was hit twice. The only sack that was given up by the 49ers tonight was on a blitz from the secondary, and I don't even think that it was supposed to be picked up by anybody along the offensive line. I think the blitz was actually supposed to have been picked up by Kyle Juszczyk. But, this offensive line just played a really nice game tonight. Not only did they not allow any of the big guys for Dallas to get a hit on Brock Purdy, and only 2 hits overall, they also opened up running lanes. 170 yards rushing for the San Francisco 49ers offense tonight. 170 yards rushing. J.P. Mason actually leading the way. Christian McCaffrey, his numbers were down a little bit, but McCaffrey actually had some really nice gains. You could really tell that Dallas was keying in on trying to stop Christian McCaffrey, and that opened up some other things for this offense, and that's partly why they were doing so well on the in the passing game off of play action, especially on early downs. It felt like Dallas had a pretty good understanding of what the 49ers wanted to do in the run game with some of the things that they were doing. But so much for all the talk about how Dan Quinn and the Dallas Cowboys defense had been having meetings with Trey Lance all week long. That's what we heard. Ed Werder from ESPN, with the tweet that the 49ers that Trey Lance had meetings with Dan Quinn to get them ready. That his ability to understand not just the 49ers playbook, to understand the defense and what the things that the defense had to do was a reason based off of this and that, and how Dallas could stop them and all this different kind of stuff, and how he was going to be able to come in and run the scout team for the Dallas Cowboys and really give them a good look of what they were going to get from Brock Purdy. And they went out and dropped 42 on their head today. Can we just stop that nonsense? Just stop it. You don't get a whole lot out of that kind of stuff, like Kyle Shanahan said on Wednesday. Hopefully they're listening to that and not watching the film. And I don't think that's the case. I do think that they were watching the film more than I think it was just a big bunch of talk in the media because they needed something to talk about and write about other than what was really taking place on the field. And just fantastic stuff all around. You look at the defensive side of the ball again, just dominant over there as well. Nick Bosa, I love the play at the opening, the first play of the game, a run by Tony Pollard off the left side. Love that play by Nick Bosa, running right down the line of scrimmage, making that tackle for just a gain of just 1. But that really set the tone for the game. Tony Pollard never really was able to get on track tonight. Nick Bosa with 4 quarterback hits overall, had a sack. Not a sack, but he shared a sack with Eric Armstead. They each had half a sack tonight. Kevin Givens with a sack of his own. Bosa had 4 quarterback hits tonight. There was 2 quarterback hits by Eric Armstead, the one by Kevin Givens, one by Fred Warner, one by Dre Greenlaw. And, what a play by Fred Warner. Fred Warner we know that he's all pro Fred, right? He's one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Dre Greenlaw, that combination is I think, the best combination in the NFL. And then you throw in Oren Burks. He's their 3rd guy too, right? And you look at it, all 3 of those guys had big plays tonight. You have Fred Warner led the team in tackles, forced a fumble on a run around the left side by Pollard later on in the game, I think it was still in the first quarter where he knocked the ball out. That was recovered by Kevin Givens. He had the tackle for loss. He had a forced fumble. He had a sack. He had an interception. Just a tremendous game there. Oren Burks with an interception in the second half. You go into the secondary. The 49ers secondary tonight allowing just 8 receptions by Cowboys wide receivers. And really, when you look at the Cowboys receiving numbers, it was basically 2 plays. It was a ball to CeeDee Lamb over the middle where Dak Prescott contained a little bit up the middle, got to buy some time, and he found Lamb for a big gain, who, because of the pressure not getting there, he was able to beat Charvarius Ward for a nice gain. A little bit later on, you have the 26-yard touchdown pass to Turpin that beat Isaiah Oliver on the corner route. But other than that, man, this defense on the back end was lights out. Isaiah Oliver had a really nice night. I know he got beat for the touchdown, but other than that, I thought he was pretty solid. He had 5 tackles to go along with it as well. Just a all around really good game. And then you look at the 49ers special teams. Jake Moody doesn't miss. I don't think he's missed anything yet. So let me knock on some wood there. And then we've got Mitch Wishnowsky with two punts that get down inside the 10-yard lines, thanks to Ronnie Bell getting down there to down those. And then, a couple of really nice kick punt returns from Ray McLeod, especially the one in the second quarter. He had, I think it was a 14-yard punt return from Murray McLeod. That was what set up the flea flicker from Purdy to George Kittle for a touchdown. That's a play that actually I remember seeing this year during training camp. They ran that play. I know that the Detroit Lions ran that same play today for a touchdown as well. So that play's getting around the league a little bit, but I remember seeing that play take place during training camp, one of the days that there was no fans here. So it wasn't a totally new one. But Hiram Wallace, member of the Toolbox, says by far McKivit's best game. Yeah, I thought the offensive line played really well, especially when you consider that Aaron Banks left early in the game in the second half. He injured his biceps on his right arm, and it's on the upper part of the arm, so they don't think it's something that's going to be season ending. At least they're hoping that it's not. He's going to get checked out, but we'll know more about that either tomorrow, more likely probably going to be Wednesday, that we'll know more on where things are with Aaron Banks and that biceps. But that's where the moves that the 49ers made make sense. They brought in a veteran interior offensive lineman and John Feliciano, who played last season for the New York Giants, a team that surprised a lot of people getting into the playoffs. Feliciano is a guy who's been around the league a lot, played a lot of guard for the Las Vegas Raiders and for the Buffalo Bills before playing with the Giants. He's played a lot of it. And then so today he steps in and helps the 49ers in the second half of this game keep on a roll. If he has to start in place of Aaron Banks, I don't feel like that's that big of it's a loss, but it's a loss that I think the 49ers can overcome. And again, it's because of that veteran depth that they have. And that's why I think this 49ers team is so good. They are deep. They have top line talent across the board on offense and defense. Then you get to their backups, and they have really solid backups, a lot of good veteran type of players. Even in the wide receiver corps, Ray McLeod is one of those guys. It's a veteran type of guy. Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel had a great night tonight. You look at Brandon Ayuk, was second on the 49ers in receiving yards behind George Kittle. But Ayuk with a really nice night. Deebo Samuel with a really nice night. And then Juwan Jennings, he just had the one catch, but it was a 19-yarder that helped set up a touchdown. So, really good stuff all around for this team today. It's hard to pick out anything that was negative. Like I said, there was the one possession that led to a touchdown. You could nitpick that one a little bit. There was a couple of plays there you had some breakdowns, but other than that, just fantastic stuff. Tayshaun Gibson with an interception on a YOLO ball from Dak Prescott. I mean, I don't know where, he just basically hit his back foot and said, "I'm throwing this one. I don't care. We're taking a shot down the field." And it just didn't work out. So, you look at this game overall, San Francisco 49ers showing who they really are. They're the best, or one of the top 2 teams in the NFL. I think it's the 49ers. I think the NFC right now is stronger than the AFC. I think you look at the defenses between Philadelphia and San Francisco. I think they're better than what they have over on the AFC side. I think the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll get into this, a little bit more during the week, but I don't know if the Kansas City Chiefs are the Kansas City Chiefs that won the Super Bowl last year. I don't know if they have that kind of talent this year around Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes is a stud. Travis Kelce's a stud. Not a whole lot else going on in Kansas City, but they keep winning. Other than week 1, but I think I just feel like it's the 49ers and the Eagles. And right now, if the 49ers had to play anybody, I would say that the 49ers are going to win. I don't think there's a team playing better football right now than the 49ers. They came out this season with that attitude. And everything right now about this team reminds me of 1984 more than any other season. And I know people are going to bring up 1994 because that's the last time that they won a Super Bowl. But really, this team reminds me of 1984 more than any other. That 1983 team was the team that lost in the NFC Championship game to the Washington with some crazy calls at the end of that game that went against them. And they went into that offseason vowing that wasn't going to happen again. And that's kind of what I feel with this team. They got themselves to the doorstep of a Super Bowl last year. A bad break to the quarterback, something that just you wouldn't normally experience. They didn't have a quarterback to finish that game off. And I think that whole thing left a really bad taste in the mouths of the San Francisco 49ers, that they're coming out this season, that they're going to prove to everybody that they're the team to beat in the NFC this season. They're going to go take what they believe is theirs. And I've said this a number of times this season. I don't see a team right now on the 49ers schedule where I can say that this is a loss. Until you get to Philadelphia, the 49ers next week go to Cleveland. Going to be a tough matchup because Cleveland has a good defense, but that Cleveland offense doesn't scare anybody, and I think that helps the 49ers. Then you go the next week to Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have a defense, and then you go from there, and it's just Cincinnati coming in here. I don't know. I don't see a game right now where I think the 49ers are going to lose. I could see them being like I've said, 15, 16, maybe even 17 win regular season for the San Francisco 49ers this season. We'll see how it all plays out. But, again, tremendous performance by San Francisco tonight, 42-10 here in Week 5 over the Dallas Cowboys. Big win. Now Brock Purdy is 10-0 as the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. It has been now, 7, I think it is, 7 or 8 games in a row now that the 49ers have scored 30-plus points in a game. Just fantastic stuff, what they're doing on offense and what they're doing on defense as well, right there with the best in the league. So, take it for what it's worth. A solid performance, though. 49ers 5-0. Moving on. If you guys could do me a favor, I'm going to lock this down right now because I got a long drive ahead of me. I got about a 2-hour drive ahead of me, and it is already, I think, about 10:40. So I got a long drive. I'll get home about 1 o'clock in the morning. But I'm going to hit the road. If you guys can do me a favor, thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I always say, hey, take it for what it's worth. I appreciate all of you tuning in. Do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're watching the show and you're not already a subscriber to the channel, hit the subscription button. Maybe even think about becoming a member. And then last but not least, turn on your notifications. I promise you don't want to miss any of the updates right here on Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. Tomorrow, I'll be on. For sure, we'll be doing at least handing out the game balls. Depending on what time I get the game film, we might even be doing a film review tomorrow afternoon. So keep it locked into the channel. We got a big plane taking off from San Jose Airport right now. But thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. Some of you, it's already Monday morning. I appreciate everybody. Have a good night, and we will be talking with you all soon. I got to figure out how I'm going to shut this thing off because I haven't done it on here before. But anyway, have a good night, everybody. Take care. I appreciate you.